Picture a memory you are certain of. Something from childhood. A birthday, a house, a face. You can see it. You would swear it happened exactly the way you remember it. Hold on to that certainty, because in the next few minutes I am going to shake it. In the 1990s, a psychologist ran a small, quietly disturbing experiment. She gave people short written accounts of 4 events from their childhood, supplied by their own families. 3 were true. 1 was completely invented. The time they got lost in a shopping mall as a 5-year-old, frightened and crying, until a kind elderly stranger reunited them with their parents. It never happened. But when they were asked about it, something remarkable happened. About a quarter of them remembered it. Not vaguely, vividly. They added details no one had given them. The man's flannel shirt, how scared they felt, the toy store they had wandered toward. They had built an entire false memory in a matter of days, and they were sure it was real. Here is the question that should unsettle you. If a whole event can be planted that easily, how much of what you remember actually happened the way you think it did? The answer is one of the most disorienting facts in all of psychology. And by the end of this, you are going to trust your own past a little less. Stay with me. The mistake almost everyone makes is imagining memory as a recording. You press play, and the past comes back exactly the way it was filmed. A video file in your head. That is not what memory is. Not even close. Memory is not playback. It is reconstruction. Your brain does not store an event whole. It stores fragments. A smell, a color, an emotion, the gist, scattered across different regions. And every time you remember, your brain rebuilds the scene from those pieces, filling the gaps with assumptions, expectations, and whatever it needs to make the story hang together. Which means every memory you have is less like a photograph and more like a painting you repaint from memory every single time you look at it. And if it is a reconstruction, it can be tampered with. The same psychologist, Elizabeth Loftus, proved exactly how easily. She showed people a film of a car accident, then asked about it using slightly different words. One group was asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. Another group saw the same film, but were asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other. Just one word different. The smashed group reported significantly higher speeds for the identical footage, and it gets stranger. A week later, she asked everyone a new question. Did you see any broken glass? There had been no broken glass in the film, but the people who had heard the word smashed were more than twice as likely to remember glass that was never there. One verb, planted a week earlier, had quietly rewritten what they saw. This is called the misinformation effect, and it is not a quirk of a few suggestible people. It is how memory works in everyone. New information, leading questions, other people's versions of events, they all seep backward into the memory and become part of it, indistinguishable from what actually happened. So why is memory built this way? Why would evolution give us a recording device that rewrites its own tapes? The answer is that it was never meant to be a recording device at all. Your memory did not evolve to preserve the past accurately. It evolved to help you survive the future. And for that job, a flexible, updatable model of the world is far more useful than a perfect archive you can never change. So your brain treats a memory the way a good editor treats a manuscript, constantly revising it with new information so it stays useful. Accuracy about the past is not the goal. Usefulness going forward is. The rewriting is not a bug. It is the entire point. but it means something strange about the act of remembering itself. And this is the part that genuinely changed how I think about my own mind. In the year 2000, neuroscientists discovered something they called reconsolidation. When you recall a memory, it does not simply play in your head, untouched. Pulling it up makes it briefly unstable, chemically soft, editable, and then your brain has to save it all over again. And in that window, before it is restored, the memory can change. It picks up your current mood, the room you are sitting in, something someone just said. Whatever is true for you now gets quietly folded into a memory of back then, and then locked back in, as if it had always been there. Sit with what that implies. The memories you revisit the most. Your happiest day? Your worst heartbreak? The story you have told 100 times are the ones you have edited the most. The more you cherish a memory, the more times you have opened it, and the further it has quietly drifted from what actually happened. You are not remembering the event. You are remembering the last time you remembered it. A copy of a copy of a copy. And somewhere far back down the chain, fading, the original. This even explains one of memory's greatest illusions, the flashbulb-memory. Ask people where they were during some huge, shocking event, and they will describe it in cinematic detail, absolutely certain they have got it right. But when researchers wrote down people's accounts the day after such an event, then checked back with them years later, the accounts had changed enormously, while the people's confidence had not moved at all. They were vividly, emotionally, completely certain of details that were simply wrong. Vividness is not accuracy. It never was. Now, I have to be careful here, because this is easy to take too far. This does not mean your memories are all fiction, or that nothing you recall is real. The broad strokes, the gist of your life, are usually reliable. You did grow up where you grew up. Your people are your people. It means the details are softer than they feel. That certainty is not proof, and that two people can remember the very same day completely differently, and because memory is not a tape, they are replaying. It is a story. Each of them is rebuilding from their own fragments right now. It also means something oddly hopeful. If memories can be rewritten, then the painful ones are not necessarily fixed forever. Therapists are now using that reconsolidation window on purpose, helping people reopen a traumatic memory and restore it stripped of some of its terror. The same mechanism that makes memory unreliable is the one that can help it heal. So here is what I actually want you to take from this. Hold your memories a little more loosely. When you are sure, dead sure, about exactly how something happened, leave a small door open for the possibility that you have repainted it. Be gentler with the people who remember it differently than you do. They are probably not lying. Their brain just rebuilt the scene from different pieces than yours did. And maybe treasure the fact that your past is not a locked archive gathering dust. It is a living thing, being rewritten, quietly, every time you return to it, including, a little bit, right now. As you remember what you thought you knew about memory. If the idea that your own past is quietly editing itself behind your back is the kind of thing that keeps you up at night, good. That is the whole reason this channel exists. Stick around and stay curious.